Bet on Bears fans, another edition of the Windy City Breeze coming you guys. We appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. As always, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. A lot to get to on today's episode. Obviously, not here in the studio, up here celebrating moms and pops anniversary. So I was not in person for practice, but got some really good information. Got to see a few of the videos from practice, and there's a lot to be excited about and some to be concerned about. Number one concern to start off the show here, Tyrique Stevenson and Luther Burden, couple of injury scares there. Luther Burden and Tyrique apparently were in one-on-ones, got tangled up, and according to Courtney Cronin, both came down pretty awkwardly. Now, Tyrique Stevenson did end up staying on the field, but Luther Burden actually limped off under his own power. So walking off with a trainer, limped off under his own power, something to keep an eye on. But Tyrique Stevenson, you got to give Tyrique credit. And I think this is the part of camp that we don't see enough anymore, right? But when you are in the conversation that Tyrique is in, his mindset has to be, I can't leave this field unless somebody like I'm dealing with a gunshot wound or whatever it is. I cannot leave this field because Malik Muhammad might take my spot, and that might be it for me. I have to continue to prove, and I give him credit for that. We saw that on display today because apparently after the injury, he went back out there, got out there in some one-on-ones, got out there in some 11-on-11, and re-aggravated the injury. The trainer then came over and put some ointment on his back, trying to loosen up that injury, and then he ends up going back out there again for the final team period. I give Tyrique a lot of credit for that, right? Because it truly is the situation of, I can't give an inch or they will move on from me by miles, right? And I think that that's the mindset that he's operating with, as if his back's against the wall, because guess what? His back is really against the wall in this situation. So I would say those are more injury scares than massive injuries, but something definitely to keep an eye on. For sure, keeping an eye on the Luther Burden one, because the connection with Luther and Caleb has been amazing throughout camp. I mean, it's been absolutely phenomenal what we've been able to see. But the good thing is you have a guy like Rome Odunze to fall back on when you do lose somebody like Luther Burden, and we'll get to that here in a second. Let me know you guys' thoughts on the injury scares. And I'm separating these out in different ways because I feel like this is more of a, there is an injury concern that we have to get to in here as well. But I would say this, to me, I think this is the part where Ben Johnson's going to have to toe the line a little bit. He's going to have to figure some things out. He's going to have to, understand that balance up, be physical, because I don't think that I see people immediately go, why are we having such physical practices? Let's not do that anymore. I get it, right? But like the Chiefs have practices like this. The Bills have practices like this. The best of the best teams practice in this manner. And yet there are some injuries that can pile up from it, but I don't think that takes away from the work that you're trying to accomplish throughout that. And what we see the result of those teams that practice this way are. I think the Detroit Lions are another team that you could talk about in that manner, who have been very successful under Dan Campbell, but they have very difficult practices and very physical practices. And you know what? The guys that make it through are usually ready to go out there and make an impact on the field. Now, another injury that we did have to deal with today was Cam Lewis being carted off. Apparently, Cam Lewis actually ended up getting banged up on the second to last play of an end-of-game situation scenario. Unfortunate to hear that. Limped over to the sidelines under his own power, but then laid on his back and remained there until a cart was able to come out and get him. Now, I will say this. The cart on fields 3 and 4, which is where the Bears practice today, aren't... You have to take all of that with a grain of salt because of how far that practice field is from actual Hallis Hall, right? So they're not going to have somebody limp their way all the way back. And if you can't make it into kind of that there's like a gym area or staging area where they have a lot of treadmills and things like that. If you can't make it back to that area where the media can't see you, they will just bring the cart out for you. So the Cam Lewis one, I think, is massive to keep an eye on because, one, you do still have to be like, he got carted off. But the fact that he laid there, wasn't able to really get himself back in, ends up getting carted off, already dealing with the amount of injuries you're dealing with at the safety position anyway, and now you lose another name in there. You're in need of bodies that are able to step in and be able to play that position at a high level. And right now, there's not a lot of guys on the market for you. The guys that you have in the building seem to be pretty banged up. I mean, the safety position was one that it felt like, if you can find an answer here, you can have really strong safeties with Dylan Thieneman and of course Kobe Bryant, and then you had other guys you could swap in there, right? Elijah Hicks now on came into the season on that PUP list. You now add Cam Lewis to the injury. You also have Kobe Bryant who's been banged up, right? That safety position is one that definitely is getting concerning. And there's going to be a lot of pressure on Dylan Thieneman to step up right away. You're not going to have the time to just go out there and figure things out. You're going to have to figure out the NFL maybe a little bit of a step quicker than what a normal rookie would, because there's a lot placed on your shoulders right now. There's a lot of pressure and there's a lot of expectation for you holding up that back end of the line. The one thing I will say about Dylan Thieneman, though, he's a rookie. There's a lot happening at once. But he does seem like while he's been out there, that's when we've talked about the defense being the most successful, right? He's making a lot of those calls. He's making a lot of those checks. He's he's the one who's getting put in that position along with Cam Lewis as well. And so, like, the fact that the defense has looked good with him in there should give Bears fans some hope that at least that Dylan Thieneman pick, that's going to be one that we're going to see pay dividends early on here. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. Do you believe that the Bears need to tone down the physicality of practice? Or are you like me, where you're like, listen, the physicality is important. It prepares you for the season. At the end of the day, the hope is that in that physicality, you find guys who are able to stay out there and be out there for the long haul, and you have guys who are prepared for what is coming this season. Because, like, I look at the Braxton Jones injury the other day, and Braxton Jones got hurt getting his butt kicked. Right, he got hurt by getting moved around, and I don't know if there was a step on or what ended up happening, but he got hurt by getting beat by a 240-pound defensive end. And while I think that Austin Booker is very good, Austin Booker should not be able to bull rush Braxton Jones, right? So I think that there's a part of it where, yes, it sucks that he's banged up, but at the same time, what is somebody who weighs 40 more pounds, like most DNs do in football, the 280-pound guys, what's that guy going to do to you? You know what I mean? So I think that, not to say that you want to see that injury happen, but I think you have to have this kind of contact for you to get better, for you to be prepared for what you're going to see in the season. Because if you can't deal with it when they're doing it, how the heck are you going to deal with it when other teams are doing it? I get it. You want to have, everybody healthy when you get to the starting line, but we've seen what it's like when a team is not prepared and you've got everybody out there. It's not better football either. So I would rather have a prepared team that understands what hits are going to come its way versus a team that's almost surprised in those early weeks. Again, let me know how you guys feel down in the comments below about that. Something else to take away from practice. A lot of good, honestly, today in practice. Jedrick Wills getting an opportunity, his first opportunity to go with the first team in one-on-one, or I'm sorry, not in one-on-ones, in at left tackle in the red zone period. And, listen, solid. And to me, he's able to hold his own. He's somebody who I'm excited that you're getting to see him with the first team, because to me, it means that Ben Johnson and this offensive staff trust him enough. Now, I know guys are banged up, but finally trust him enough to put him out there with that first team, that he understands the scheme, because I think that's been one of the things that has really probably been holding him back, is he's the only one that's new to the scheme. You could see it at practice, 110%. He has more talent. He does. He has more talent than everyone else who was out there at that left tackle position. Now, Braxton Jones was winning the competition by a lot, because Braxton, while maybe not as talented, he knew where to go. He knew where the scheme was going to fit for him. He knew how to be, or Ben knew how to utilize him, because he understood what Braxton was going to be successful at. And Braxton was doing a really, really good job in those moments, right? But when you talk about pure talent, right, Jedrick Wills isn't getting pushed around by an Austin Booker. He's so powerful. He's got a quick burst. Hands are coming up. I mean, like, you can tell that he can play the tackle position well. The question always was, well, is he going to be able to go out there and know the right places to go? And I think, holding him back, not to say that it's all sunshine and rainbows, because it shouldn't have taken you this long to be up with the first team unit, when I can physically and clearly see that you are better than everyone else talent-wise at the position. So I assume that means that it took you a little bit longer to learn the playbook. Now, this offensive playbook is very complex. Can't act like it isn't. But at the same time, you've had this playbook for a while now. need to see you above Karan Amagaji consistently at a minimum on the depth chart. But seeing him with the ones today, I think is good because it means that Ben finally trusts him enough to put him out there with the ones that he's not going to re-injure himself or re-aggravate anything by not knowing the scheme. Because you can get hurt not knowing the scheme just as much as you can get hurt just going out there playing, right? But if you're in the wrong position and you're running the wrong play and somebody lights you up because the pads are on, right? Now all of a sudden you're laying on the ground needing a cart to get stretchered off. And especially coming off of taking a year off from the league, I like how they've kind of slow played this. And hopefully this is Jedrick starting to get his opportunity and taking hold of that and never letting go. Another person who got an opportunity with the first team today in 11-on-11 period was Malik Muhammad. He got just about all of the reps with the first team throughout the day, but he actually played pretty solid. Had a PBU in that 11-on-11 period. I believe it was on the second drive. And you know what? Like just seeing, or I'm sorry, second play of that 11-on-11 period. And you know what? Just seeing that he's already kind of acclimating to that nickel spot, that nickel position, that slot DB, right? Like, I think that that's going to be something that is probably going to be his focal point throughout camp and heading into the rest of the season, right? I hope that Kyler Gordon is back very soon, but every time we hear them talk about Kyler Gordon, it's just kind of like, what's the update on Kyler? Hey, bodies happen. Sometimes people die. You never know. We're going to see. We'll think about it. Give me a minute. There's never a clear update on Kyler. So to me, you're going to need somebody that you can count on there. It's good to see that Malik Muhammad is getting those first team reps already and is showing that he can still play the position at a high level. Because if you've got Jalen, if you've got Tyrique, if you've got Malik, and those are the three that you're going to war with, not a terrible scenario, but you have to make sure that Malik is able to deal with the speed that is happening down there at that nickel position. That's always the biggest thing that everybody talks about. How much speed, how fast the game is happening down there. That's a tough spot for a young player to have to figure out on the fly, and they're trusting him that he's going to be the one to do that. So excited about that. Outside of that, though, it's tough when you lose a guy like Luther Burden, but it makes it a lot more manageable when you hear that Colston Loveland is absolutely dominating in 7-on-7s. Apparently, he had a diving catch today in the back corner of the end zone, came up from it, hype, punts the football into the fans, and all of a sudden there's a flag on the play and he gets it. But the flag is what it is, right? Like, I think Ben Johnson will happily take all the flags if they come after touchdowns. Cairo, you might have to kick a couple of longer field goals. Because I think we saw Luther punt one the other day, and I don't think they gave him a flag on it, actually. But, just seeing that relationship with Colston and Caleb continue to build, continue to be solidified. On the flip side of that, right, you've also got Rome Odunze, who stood out as well and probably had one of the bigger moments from camp today in that final team period scenario. Situation is when they get down to the end zone, down 7, ball on the 17, 24 seconds left on the clock. Caleb Williams takes the snap, ends up having to buy some time, rolls out as only Caleb does, throws a dot to the back corner of the end zone, and apparently Rome Odunze able to come down with the defense all over him. Courtney Cronin reported that there were 3 to 4 defenders around him when he was able to make that catch. Those are the kind of catches that if Rome can keep those in the arsenal, I think he's going to be one of the most dangerous players this team has. And I get it, right? We're all excited about what's new with Luther Burden. We're all excited about what Colston Loveland is going to be able to bring to the team. But the reality is the kind of quarterback that Caleb Williams is, you need a Rome Odunze on this team. You need somebody who can be that safety blanket, big body down the field, that when the ball is tossed up, he's able to come down with it. The question is Rome going to consistently be able to come down with it? I don't need you to be, 100%, but can we get to a point where he is back to that 60+% catch success rate that he had in college, especially those contested catches? I think that he has the skill. I think he has the ability. It's very good to see that relationship is still built there. And you know what? Like, that's the thing for me, right? With Luther getting banged up today, you really get an opportunity to see what the season may end up looking like if guys go down like they did last season. Who's going to be able to step up? Who's going to be able to help Caleb most in those moments? And there's still a litany of guys that he can get the football to. And I just love the fact that even with that, right, the timing that Caleb Williams seems to have, he's not speeding the play up. He's still allowing the play to develop. He's using his legs to let that play develop more to get what he wants from the defense, and he's able to fire firing a shot that, yeah, maybe it's not the best shot, or I'm sorry, maybe it's not the most open shot, but maybe it's the best shot you have for that scenario. So I think that, still seeing that relationship there, it's very exciting to see how many weapons this Bears team has. You don't want to see anybody get banged up, but if guys got to get banged up in that receiver room, at least there's a ton of options for you to go to. You still got a Khalif Raymond who's been having a phenomenal camp. You've still got Rome Odunze. You've got Xavion Thomas, who has really burst onto the scenes and seems like that speed is going to be something that we're constantly talking about. You've still got Colston Loveland out there, still got DeAndre Swift. There's a litany of guys that you can go to here. So while we do have some injury scares here, I would say it is not the end of the world. Final thing that I would put out there, and it seems like every single day this is something that we may end up saying, Jordan Vandenberg is a monster. Like, Ryan, you might have got one. Jordan Vandenberg truly feels like when we were early in camp and I'm looking around and I'm like, yo, I get it. Like, Swifty's having a good camp. It's good to see him bounce back. It's good to see him figuring something out. Anybody paying attention to this Kyle Manung guy? Because he's kind of moving these sticks. He's kind of moving the ball here. Like, that's what it feels like with Jordan Vandenberg. It feels like every single day you're talking about him getting the best of somebody, him being a mauler on somebody, him moving people out of the way that are above him, both in draft and in tenure in this NFL. He just seems like, especially, I would love to ask DA next week. And I think, no, when is DA speaking again? I believe possibly tomorrow. It might be Ben tomorrow, but I believe it's going to be DA tomorrow. And if he is, I want to ask him what advantage Jordan has rushing out of a 4-point stance instead of a 3-point stance. Of course, the front end is going to be lower to the ground. The center or nose tackle can't see the number. And so, he's always going to win the leverage battle, but you still have to be able to maul and move people out of the way. It's going to be interesting to see what DA says about that. But Jordan Vandenberg gets me excited almost every day that we are at practice. And hopefully we see that continue. And this young man is able to earn a spot on the final 53. Hey, let me know how you guys feel about anything I talked about in today's episode, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. As always, it is your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. I'm going to head back and finish celebrating my parents' anniversary, but didn't want to get you guys this news. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear down. One love. Peace.